an initiative of people that have solutions. Again, it's my fault. I've been responsible for this. So all it takes is a few small successes, and that's what saved the One Small Town initiative. I wouldn't be here today without that one property for sale, on auction. It was done. I got so sick of it. I said, well, I'm going to make the rules. It's my way or the highway. We're going to have to cut this out of the video. We understand zero-point energy very well. I'd say better than most people. That's exactly what we want to prevent. I love the questions, by the way. You guys are really switched on. This is great. So we have created something so contrary to how crypto works. Otherwise, people just run wild and they do what the hell they want. Everybody has got 3 hours a week. We just don't get it.
Michael Chamberlain. Let's hope this microphone will work again for us.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear us okay? If you can't hear me, put your hand up. Didn't get that for a while.
Okay.
Questions?
Hi Michael, Daria here from Scotland.
Hello, Daria.
My question is about zero-point energy. If you're familiar with zero-point energy and the work of Nassim Haramein, and if you are, then is there any plans on implementing zero-point energy in one small town?
Thank you for that question. Yes, I know Nassim very well. In fact, I gifted Nassim a Taurus stone in 2013, which is a zero-point energy device. And these Taurus stones generate energy, free energy. If you look at my work at Ancient Civilizations, Advanced Technology, you'll see it spoken about in great detail on my channel. And so we understand zero-point energy very well. I'd say better than most people. That's one of the things we're going to develop in the Innovation Hub. Unfortunately, Nassim didn't do anything about Taurus stone. So I got it back from him a few years later, and it's now back in my museum in my little town of Waterval, Boven. And that's where it sits. But these are all ancient technologies that we understand very well. They generate energy. That's a separate discussion. But it will, you see, it's that knowledge of ancient civilizations that led me to start the One Small Town initiative. Because I realized that there's so much knowledge and wisdom, especially teaching us where money comes from, the origins of banking, which is very different from what we are taught at school or at economic schools, and that very different. So we'll be working with those technologies. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Someone else got a hand up? Thank you. What's your question?
Hi. Hello. Hi. Michael is my name as well. I'm coming from Wales, Irishman from Wales, but the value of the Infinity token is set in dollar value.
Dollars, yes.
Dollar value. But I've been asked, when I've spoken about this idea, will it ever have, or how does it relate to your local country value?
Very good question. So thank you for that question. It's a very important question, and clearly it's something you thought about more than others. And so first of all, the Infinity token is based on the dollar because we chose the dollar as the international currency to pin it to, for no other reason. Then we decided that we need to create an algorithm that is based on something. What is the outcome? What's a finite thing? What does the token represent? The token represents 3 hours of labor. So 3 hours of labor in dollars is about $13 or whatever it was when we were calculating it. So 1 hour of labor is $13. So we looked at minimum labor wage, labor cost, maximum, what does the average people get paid in the USA if we're going to pin it to the dollar, and it ended up with 3 hours of labor in the USA would be about just less than $40, like $39.50 or something like that. So we said we'll round it off to $40. That's what 3 hours of labor is worth at an average kind of structure in the USA. And so we created the algorithm which is on the platform. That's how it works. When we've sold 40,000 tokens, and there are 40,000 members that are contributing 3 hours a week, that's when the token will be worth $40. So that's what it's pinned at. So you know it's going to $40. At some stage it's going to reach $40. And that's where it's going to stay. Because this is not a cryptocurrency for people to speculate on and make money on and buy and sell. No, we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to prevent that from happening. This needs to be a stable, community-based token that is not being speculated on. It's there for us and our members to use for our benefit, not for speculators and people with money to use and abuse at our expense. So it can never be crashed. You can't go and sell all your tokens for nothing and crash the whole system. You can't buy tokens because they're not available. So keep in mind, once the 24 million tokens that we launched, and there's only about close to 22 million left, once those are sold, that's it, they're gone. You won't be able to go buy any more tokens. The only way you can earn tokens or get tokens then is to buy it from another member who's earned the tokens, or by going to contribute 3 hours to a community and earn the token. That's it. So that might push the value of the token high. There might be somebody that wants the token and goes onto our trading platform and says, I'm looking for infinity tokens, I'm prepared to pay $50 a token. Now, obviously, if you have tokens, you'll sell it to them. Why they would do that, I don't know, because they can't sell them. They won't be able to sell them again. So we prevent speculation and we prevent people from crashing the system. It's taken us quite a while to figure all this out, because everyone thinks in the financial industries, everyone thinks in the way that, oh, this is financial markets, so we're going to make money out of it and all this. No, we said that's exactly what we want to prevent. And I believe we've succeeded very, very well. Right now what we have, as according to these crypto heads that told me, we have the most stable, asset-backed community token, NFT, anywhere that's available anywhere right now. So it's going to $40, just so everybody knows, and it's going to stop at $40. So if you buy them now at I think it's $5.30, $5.11. Okay, so that's what it is. So it's going to keep going up. The more members sign up, the more the value goes up, and it's going towards $40. So it's very obvious and very clear where it's going to end, and then that's where it stays. Then just so that you understand how we've had to adapt for using the Infinity token in your local town store. So we've had to adapt it to accommodate. So imagine if you're living in India or South Africa where the dollar is $17 rand to $1. I remember when I was at university, we used to get $3 for 1 rand. How things have changed. So we can't use American dollar value in our one small town stores in South Africa, because that'll just cripple the entire system. So every country will use the Infinity tokens in their store based on the value of their currency that's connected to the value of their labor for 3 hours. So it's a very simple conversion. So when we launch the first one small town store in the UK, it'll be based, your Infinity tokens get converted in your digital wallet to one small town UK store GBP, and that's what you get. In India it'll be rupees, in South Africa it'll be rand. So it's a very simple conversion. Again, no one can manipulate it. You can't trade these on the stock markets or anything and try and beat the system and get rich and screw everybody else. So it really has been an incredible journey of really learning how the entire system has been set up to screw us over. And those with money will just keep making more money, and some of us get lucky, and we just keep screwing everybody else that's just not lucky enough, and that's got to stop.
Okay,
so
that was a great question, thank you. This lady has a question.
Hello. So I really need to understand more, and it might be that you've already got this on your website, or one of your ambassadors can explain to us how we run this system alongside the slaving system that we've got in place now. So, for example, obviously people still have to pay bills and debts and mortgages and earn money, and those that are probably going to be most attracted to this, the people who aren't working, but they will be being surveilled very carefully. How's it going to come under the radar? How's it going to work alongside that system? So if somebody's on benefits and they are claiming universal credit, then they are doing 3 hours a day for the one small town. How does that slip under the radar? If you're volunteering, why aren't you working and earning? And they have to go to job clubs and they have to prove that they're going for job interviews and things like that.
Okay,
How is that going to...
I got it. So, yes, the answer to is...
There's a lot in there, to be fair. So if there's a couple of points you could pick up there, then...
Yeah, but what I'd like to say, there's a lot you need to read still. It sounds like you're very new to this. So we've covered this in great detail on many videos, on the Q&A videos on our website. So we've dealt with that extensively over the years.
Okay.
I think that microphone needs a new battery.
Yeah, as you can see, you have to be quick with your question. Otherwise you lose the microphone. This gentleman over here, I will get over that side of the room very shortly. Let me just turn this off and back on again so you get at least 10 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Try that.
Hello, my question is around the two different types of token, particularly you have the Infinity and the technology token. One question I have really is, how will the profits from the technology token be shared with small towns, one small town setups in the UK?
Okay, great question. So keep in mind that the technology token is something completely different from the Infinity token. Infinity token is a stable token. It's the means of exchange for our sweat our 3 hours. That's it. That's where it is. It'll never change. A technology token is the first of many new tokens that we will be launching as a means of fundraising for various businesses. For example, we want to launch, you'll be going through it with Michael and Giulia, we want to launch a first UK store hub community centre. We're going to need £100,000 for that. So we're going to create a UK hub token and try and raise £100,000 for that. So we're going to create 100,000 tokens with that name and sell those. And those 100,000 tokens will represent 30% profit of the hub business. So it was like buying shares, preferential shares or profit shares. That's what it is. And it's only 30%. It can only ever be 30%. So whether it's a technology token or any other new business that might need funding. We might want to start a brewery in a small town somewhere. Say, we need £100 million to start a brewery. We're going to issue £100 million for 30% of that business, because the community always has to retain 60%. And then the 10% is held for the one small town offices, from national to local, that gets shared so they can operate. So the community always retains 60% of the profit share of that business, while if there is an investor, they then retain 30%. If the community can fundraise the money themselves, that's the first prize. That's always the first priority. So what we try to do is we issue an investor token through the crowdfunding system. So it's the same principle applies for every future fundraising activity. And that token gets allocated to, say, we need to start a dairy in one small town somewhere, and we need £300,000 to do that. So we'll issue 300,000 tokens at £1 each and sell those, and that'll represent 30% of that dairy, the net profit of that to that dairy. Does that sort of answer your question? Yes.
One of the things that concerned me about Bitcoin was that as soon as you switch off the internet, then the Bitcoin has disappeared. How will these tokens be any different? Where's it administrated from? Is it South Africa? What happens if we lose our internet connection with South Africa? How do you know who's got which Bitcoins and how many they have? Infinity tokens.
Infinitely more powerful than Bitcoin. Bitcoin can crash tomorrow. You are aware of that, right? It can literally crash right now. If I had 10,000 Bitcoins and I went and sold them for $1 each now, that's it. That's the end of Bitcoin. Overnight, in a split second, it's gone. That can never ever happen with infinity. Michael, did you want to answer that?
Yeah, I can help elaborate on that. In that, if the internet goes down, that means a lot has probably happened, and there's going to be a lot you're worrying about, as in whether the light switch will come on. So if the internet goes down, it's probably very serious. That's the first point. If it does, there are various places that all the data is saved in various servers. The guys in South Africa have thought very long and hard about how to make sure that we don't lose stuff, because there's a lot of data there. So they're stored in various servers. So I'm not one of the data guys, but I can tell you it's secure, it's backed up, and it's held. So all we would need to do then is pick up from where we left off. In the meantime, if the internet goes down, it might be down to pen and paper if you want to log, which hours you've done or which activities you've done, and then we can add that stuff back on afterwards. So that has been thought about. Was that your question as well? Okay.
So if I can add to that, Michael, is that keep in mind that the Infinity token can be managed locally as well as a localized network, like a shopfront network, like a localized internet in your home or in your town. So all we need to do is distribute the data on a flash drive or some way to every town, and you update it up to a certain point. So everyone's got the same data, so you can start running it locally. If the entire thing shuts down, we're in a far stronger position to continue operating than anybody else. As long as you got your membership card and you can log on onto your local network, then you're okay. And then we just need to share the local network on a weekly basis to update it so that everyone's updated. So we've thought about this, we've got contingencies for this, because we understand how vulnerable the entire system is.
Okay, let's see if we can get through a few more questions, because if this battery dies, then half the room haven't asked, but you had a quick one.
Just staying on innovation and technology, you've obviously put a lot of time, effort, money into what you've done in South Africa. How does that travel to the UK? How do we get access to that technology as part of the One Small Town sort of global initiative? And how do we get access to the recycling plants, all the things that you're investing in, particularly the seed, the tech where seeds are.
Yeah.
If we're going to invest in it, how in the UK as groups do we get access?
Yeah, great. I love the questions, by the way. You guys are really switched on. This is great. So the technology belongs to the One Small Town community. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to my partners in the head office in a non-profit company. It belongs to the members of One Small Town. That's the first thing. Please just understand that. We need to keep the IP in some sort of a corporate structure so that it can't just get stolen. Everything that we do will never ever get released onto the market so that somebody can buy it and they claim they own that technology, or therefore they own that IP. So the ugly betties will never be sold into the market by somebody to own and say, I'm going to now recycle plastic. That's not. All the technology will always be set up so that it is either run in a factory by One Small Town South Africa, or set up a factory in the UK and run it on behalf of One Small Town UK, so that those profits then get channeled into the small towns. So, and that will go for recycling, the desalination, water purification, the sea technology, and that all is connected to the ambassador of that town. It's like a franchise. Somebody needs to take responsibility and say, okay, I will run UK, One Small Town UK, and make sure that that person, or USA, we have the ambassadors for the UK and England, and hopefully more coming. So those become like the franchise holders, and they have a very strong license agreement with the head office, and they operate under very strict guidelines as to what they can and cannot do. We've had to do this. We've had to use these corporate structures to set up the control mechanisms. Otherwise, people just run wild and they do what the hell they want, and it all backfires on me. Oh, Michael Challenger is running a scam. I'll give you an example. Just we had in Canada, we appointed some ambassadors in Canada. And one was the national ambassador, and then a state ambassador, one of the provinces, and then a town ambassador, who we got very excited about. So we had the link from state, from national to province to the local town. And then we started talking about raising $10,000 for beautiful greenhouses that they had. They were going to start growing large amounts of food in the town as their first community project and business. Great, so we have these Zoom calls and meetings, and we're going to put it on the platform and start doing the business plans for it. And then it all stops. So I thought, okay, well, nothing has happened. I can't keep driving people. It's up to you. It's up to them. I can't keep kicking everybody's butt, you know. And then, 3 or 4 months later, I get this email from somebody in Canada that says, hey, what happened to my $10,000? I gave your ambassador in this town $10,000 for their greenhouse. I want my money back because nothing's happening. Now it's my problem. Okay? They blame me, not the town or the ambassador. So we've had to put all these systems in place so that can't happen. If anybody donates money or contributes money or funds anything in any one small town activity anywhere, it goes through the blockchain. There is a chain of command. They can see exactly where their money is. We know that somebody is getting funded. Can you imagine we have just 200 towns or 100 towns in every country, in 100 countries. That's 10,000 small towns with 100 businesses in each. What is that? That's 10 million businesses running under the one small town umbrella. This thing can get big very quickly. If there isn't a robust blockchain structure that manages this is the worst nightmare you can imagine. So we've had to work very hard to get these foundational structures in place. And that gives our investors confidence that they know, okay, here's the business plan. That business plan is connected to a project management plan. That's connected to a bank account, connected to that town, to that project, to that business, and the money gets released according to the business plan, through the project management system, through the financial system every month for what they need to make that business plan work. So there's an entire ecosystem that releases the funds, and the investor can log on and see exactly where their money is, and that the right amount of money is being released every month. So the investor is happy. And so this is what we've created. We have a more powerful platform and blockchain than most of the largest companies in the world. Just try and comprehend this. We've had to do this because this is going to be one of the largest businesses in the world. Community-owned business, humanitarian, community upliftment program. All of the good stuff together. Making money while it's serving our community. So it's been a fascinating journey, making sure we tick all the boxes.
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you very much. This gentleman has a question.
How would you suggest going about starting and promoting a new local group on the ground?
Good question. I think we're going to cover that with Michael and Giulia now in this afternoon. And that's, by the way, remember, we've been wrestling with this for especially the last 4 years. How the hell do we start? And one of the biggest problems was like, well, we need to appoint ambassadors. And I was, I'm panicking, I'm freaking, I want this thing to work. So we need ambassadors. So we start appointing ambassadors. And I realized, oh my God, the ambassadors have no idea what they should be doing. So it's pointless appointing an ambassador. And then I'm excited. And then the moment they get appointed, it's a phone call every day. Okay, Michael, what should I do now? And then 2 days later, okay, what should I do now? So that's not going to work. So we've got a whole new plan. If you go on our platform, it says how to get involved, how to become an ambassador. And we've actually made it difficult for people to sign up as ambassadors. We screen them. We make them jump through a bunch of hoops. Because I've realized that if you're not as serious as I am about one small town, I don't want to talk to you. Forget about it. I've spent 2 decades building this. So I'm not going to jump and be a puppy dog for everybody that wants to know about how it works. There's a website with a lot of information, all the details are there. When you are serious, if you get the point that, okay, this is for me, I am now serious about this, I want to get involved, that's when we engage with people. And we, quite frankly, when I get an email and it's 2 pages long telling me their life story and it's like delete, they're not interested. When I get an email that says, I love your one small town model, I'd like to discuss it more. Or I'd like to become an ambassador, I have a few questions. I've read your website, I have a few additional questions. Now I'm interested, because I see they've done their homework and they're more serious about getting involved. So keep the communication short, to the point, and keep them smart and intelligent so we know that you're serious. Otherwise, geez, the number of emails I get that are 3-4 pages long, people telling me their life story. It's beautiful and sometimes sad and sometimes joyful, but I can't read 100, 200 emails like that a day. It's just not feasible.
Okay, thank you. We will look forward to your email.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Okay, I'm going to come
But
around this area.
the hub, the One Small Town hub and store is specifically designed for the UK. And the funding and the business plan that Michael put together, it's beautiful. It's a profit-making business that serves the One Small Town community and the needs, and becomes a foundation to launch many One Small Town activities from that hub, store and cafe.
Fabulous. Next question, anybody? Come back to you, sir.
Hi, it's Justine. Do the farms and the factories, production facilities need to be actually in the same geographical location? So, for example, if it's an urban area without much farmland, could you go sort of down the road a bit?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So obviously, we want to work with, if we start One Small Town here, in this town, it'll be great to work with the farmers right around us. And what we've come across as well is that once the farmers realize what we're doing, they happily allocate land to us, because they say, look, we're going to need some land for what we call community gardens. That's another lesson we've learned. How to blend growing food for a community, for us, with commercial farming. And let me tell you what, there is no blood point. You cannot marry those two. They're completely and utterly, you cannot, integrate them. You either grow food for the community or you grow food commercially. And so we've had to come up with a plan. So we call it community gardens, where we have land allocated, or we buy the land by the community, for the community, where we grow food for ourselves. The rest of the farms, however, and I'm sure that'll happen here in South Africa, many farmers have given us land already. We have thousands of hectares of land that have been offered to us to grow food for the community. But because the farmers know we're going to be working with the farmers, growing bulk food commercially that will help to either consume ourselves or distribute or export. So farmers in your immediate environment, first prize, because we're going to work with them and help them promote their, or sell or distribute their produce, and also possibly with the seed treatment and all that thing. And then hopefully those farmers will also allocate some of their land to that community for the community gardens. So that's the model, the way it stands right now. And so far it looks really promising. The farmers are really awesome people.
Okay, thank you.
But that doesn't preclude that you can have a piece of land somewhere else. And say, well, there's a farmer, somewhere 100 k's from us, 100 miles from us, that's offering us land. So, okay, well, fantastic. So what can we do on that land that's connected? Or it might be somebody that lives in Buxton, but they own a piece of land, 50 miles away. So we say, okay, I'll allocate that land to our Buxton thing. So we've got solutions for all these potential problems because they've already come up over the years. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a very short question, and I hope it's not a repetition of what you might have already treated, but very, very simply put, who owns OTS? I think you already touched on it, but would you mind just repeating just to sink in properly? So
OST, One Small Town non-profit company, is registered in South Africa. So it's a not-for-profit company. I'm the founder of it, and I have two partners in it. Opis and Llewellyn. When you get involved with us, you'll get to know them. Llewellyn is the engineer, the chemical engineer. He developed all the technology around the recycling. Opis Opperman, Johannes Opperman, he handles all the legal, the banking, all that kind of side, the technology, the platform. So he's the go-between in that area. So those are the three people that are the directors of the non-profit company in South Africa. And that same model will be structured in America with the American founders of the One Small Town non-profit company that'll have a licensing agreement with the parent company, same in the UK. So a non-profit company, or as Giulia will go through that, community interest company. I believe that's what they decided upon. That'll be launched as the holder of the intellectual property or the operational manual or whatever you want to call it. That, yeah. So the whole thing worldwide is a non-profit enterprise. However, in case you don't know this, A non-profit company in the USA, and I believe the CIC here as well, can own subsidiaries that are for-profit companies. And that makes it really interesting. So again, we're working smart. We have to use the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation. We have to do what the big corporates do to get away with paying as little tax as possible while being non-profit, but having charities and all kinds of stuff through which to channel money to our communities without having to pay tax on it and all that kind of stuff. So we use the same smart people to work that out for us.
Thank you. Who was it yourself?
So I understand that thanks to Infinity tokens, the community cannot destroy it from inside because it's only medium of exchange within the community. And if something theoretically happened, that for example, if the Infinity token will be worth $40 to $40, but fiat money will be still printed. So theoretically, someone could buy more tokens because there would be more fiat money, but there would be still.
So they can't buy any more tokens. So remember, once the 24 million tokens are sold, that's a seed capital. That is done. Yeah. Then the only way you can get tokens is by buying it from somebody who's got tokens because they earned them, or go and work for your community and earn the tokens for 3 hours.
But right now, we can buy tokens right now.
Right, yes. Now you can buy.
So I believe that maybe the algorithm operates in the way that if it comes to $40 per token, then it means that 23rd will be released million. But if we can buy Infinity tokens right now, my understanding is based on what you said, that if we are come up to 23 million of tokens, we will not be able to buy them.
I don't understand what you're saying. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. The point is that if the Infinity token is worth $40, no one's going to pay you $45 for it or $50 for it because it doesn't make any sense. So that takes speculation out of it. You're not going to sell your tokens. I can come to you, I can go onto the platform and say, I'm willing to buy Infinity tokens for $100 each. Anyone who wants to sell me their tokens for $100. Yeah, you can do that, and people probably sell their tokens to you, but then what are you going to do with them? Now you're going to have all these Infinity tokens that you paid $100 for, but to get rid of them, no one's going to pay you $100 for them. So we've had to build that in. So that's a protection system for the entire community. We have created something so contrary to how crypto works that it's difficult for crypto heads to get their head around it, because we're literally showing them a big middle finger. We don't like what you're doing with crypto. It is not helping the world. It's not helping the people. It was supposed to help the people, but all it's doing is helping those with money to speculate on it and make more money. And it's just creating a bigger and bigger bubble, and it's blowing up the bubble, and sooner or later it's going to burst. And there's going to be some real shit flying everywhere, and a lot of people around the world are going to lose everything because they're putting their money into crypto. People just don't get it. We have done exactly the opposite, and that's why crypto heads, they really struggle with what we've done, because it is contrary to how their brains work. You can't beat crypto. See, the crypto gods are here. They can't beat the Infinity token. It is the most stable and the most powerful community token NFT in the world right now, and it'll remain that as long as we're alive and they're One Small Town members doing what we're doing. You cannot undermine it. It's not possible. And we've done it intentionally, so we can't get speculators to destroy our reward system. In fact, we've been playing around with it. Giulia tells me, and what apparently is happening, there's quite a few pubs going under in the UK. And there's potentially an interesting opportunity for the pub owners that are struggling to survive to say, hey, why don't I turn my pub into a One Small Town pub, hub and store? One Small Town store, hub and pub. And we can keep selling beer, but we sell more than beer. We turn it into a coffee shop during the day. We put some shelving in the back or in the courtyard, put a marquee up that we can fill the shelving. That can become the One Small Town trading store. We can have a little corner where people come and sit and get their healing and breathe their ozone and get their Rive treatment and all that. And we have a space that, there's a potential for the pubs to go this way. So I'm just putting it out there in case you know people in that industry, because right now, last night we asked ChatGTP to find us the right kind of venue that we can open a One Small Town hub, pub and store. And it took almost a day for GPT to work on it, and this morning it spat out a whole bunch of venues that are available for either sale or rent. I haven't had time to go through it because that happened on the way when I was driving here. So we use technology to help us, and AI. It's very interesting, and I'm excited to see what it came back with.
Under the CIC, and then obviously I know there's different businesses that can come under that, or what is the sort of optimum kind of legal entity?
Michael and Giulia will discuss that with you. In South Africa, we have a very specific way of handling it because of our corporate structures there. And for us, the thing that worked best, the tool that serves us best, is a non-profit company. Because under the non-profit company, the head office company, we can have an infinite number of subsidiary non-profit companies that are named the one small town, this or that or that. So they operate their own bank account without having to start a new company or a new business. So it happens instantly. You don't have to register a new business. It just becomes a subsidiary of the locally registered head office. So that's how we operate in South Africa. It's a beautiful, simple, elegant model. Everybody understands it immediately. And I believe the same is possible here. The same is possible in the USA. Look, this thing, you can imagine, we've had to go through all these things. We've sat with lawyers and accountants just to write the white paper for the Infinity token. Do you know how long it took me to sit with very expensive lawyers that write cryptocurrency white papers? They couldn't get their head around the fact that we don't want to make profits. We're not into that. Just like literally, it cost us a fortune because they couldn't understand that we're not interested in making a profit for shareholders somewhere. It's crazy. The entire system, our lawyers, the lawyers that we want to represent us, they have to first turn around their conditioning and thinking about how they're going to represent one small town, because we turn everything upside down. It helps to help the community.
Very quick question. How, if labour costs go up over a period of time, which they will do, and the token is then worth £40, how will you deal with that?
You see, you guys are so awake. I love it. These questions are excellent, really. That's a very good question. So right now, we're working with the value of the token is based on what is the average hourly wage in the USA. The value of that argument is then used to structure the value of the token in each country to use in your local store. So the people in India will use their one small town token in India, and they can get a lot of stuff, but you can't get Americans to then come there and use their tokens in dollars. They'll buy the whole shop so we've got to protect the local people in each country from exploitation of currency fluctuation and exchange between countries. That problem is solved. Move on. But it was a problem. It took us at least 48 hours to solve that problem. I'm not kidding you. That's how long it took. And that's when you realize, once you start working with one small town and you come up against a problem, you'd be surprised how quickly you solve that problem. Because the moment you start thinking about how is it going to serve the community and everybody else instead of how much money can I make out of it, it changes everything. And the problems come flooding. I mean, the solutions come flooding in. It's beautiful. Oh, sorry, I actually didn't finish. I segued into how we adapt the value of the token for your local store. But the value of the Infinity token on the trading platform will keep going up based on the average hourly wage of the USA. So it'll be constantly the USA. So when the hourly wage or the average wage goes to $15, then the value of the token will be $45, right? 3 times 15, 45. Is that yes? So it'll be a little bit more. And then once that happens, then there'll be an interesting moment where the people that have got tokens for $40 now suddenly can sell them, because the people that want to buy or earn more tokens or buy tokens will be prepared to pay $40. So it's going to be interesting, but it's never going to be an exploitative situation where some group of people with money can exploit those without.
How are the tokens encryption protected from quantum D-wave computing?
What? Quantum D?
Quantum D-wave computing.
So our tokens are on a private platform. Private. We're not on any Cardano or any of the open blockchains. We're on a private blockchain.
Well, my understanding is that quantum D-wave computing can access any encryption.
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to ask our coders. And I can tell you right now, they work with some of the biggest financial institutions in the world. So I'm sure they've got a solution for that already. Just while Michael is walking, the idea of this meeting here and this workshop is that from here on, those that want to continue with us and walk this journey and grow this, we're going to be having regular weekly or fortnightly meetings, Zoom calls, where everybody will be, come on board. We'll keep upgrading and moving forward and growing until we launch this one small town here in England, and then we'll continue after that. So we'll be dealing with all these questions, finding problems, finding solutions, and growing this and evolving this on a weekly basis.
Transparency is important, obviously, to all of us. We're all living in a system right now that has all of us blind as to what's really going on, and so it makes a lot of people cynical. And I feel a little lacking when it comes to speaking to people who are unfamiliar with this. How easy will it be for us, for people to can you help me with that? And how easy will it be for people to really be in touch and to stay in touch with everything that's going on?
So, like I said, we're going to be doing these regular Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, where questions and answers will be dealt with. If you're not strong enough or well versed enough with one small town to explain to somebody, my suggestion is don't do it. Tell them there's a website, there's a bunch of videos, read this book. If you like it, join. If you don't, God bless you, have a nice life. I don't ever try and convince anyone about this. I'm way beyond that stage. I'm interested in a small number of people that walk this journey with us, and we're the ones that are going to make this work. We don't have to convince everybody. If they don't get it, that's okay. Not everyone, like I said in that one slide, not everybody gets it. And there's just always somebody they just don't want to get it. It's not that they don't get it, they don't want to get it. And that's okay. It's their journey, There's a question here, Michael.
Yeah. If there are 24 million tokens and let's say 24 million people sign up, so they've each got one token, but in the store something costs 2 tokens, how would I now be able to buy it? Okay, so you're assuming that people buy one token. No, we've had people that have bought 600,000 tokens. I think that was actually more. 650,000 tokens was one of the biggest investments. And then there are a few 200,000 people that bought 200,000 tokens, 100,000 tokens, and so forth. So all the way down. So it's spread right across a wide range of people. Some people buy 2 tokens. You can go online and say, I want to buy 10 tokens a month, and it'll automatically send you 10 tokens. So you keep getting tokens, and you don't have to, pay a lump sum. So we've got that. And the benefit of that is that, by the way, just to let you know, if you go online right now and you subscribe to a 12-month token, then you can continue paying that same price that you subscribe at. So when the price of the token goes up, you continue paying at the price that you subscribed at. Some people are still buying tokens and they bought it at $1.50. And they're still paying $1.50 while the actual price is $5 whatever. So go online, if you can afford £10 or whatever it is, whatever you can afford a month, go and subscribe to some tokens. Let them just accumulate in your wallet. You can still you can buy as many as you want. Yeah, oh, absolutely. So every 3 hours that you contribute, you get your one token. I just want to make something clear, because I think there might have been a misconception from one of the questions that one small town isn't something that you have to give up your life and now we all live in one small town like a bunch of hippies in a cult and that's all we do. No, we might only have 100 members that sign up in a town of 10,000, right? But there's 100 people that are going to do the work and get the benefits. The other people, and even the members that sign up, you still carry on with your life. You might have a job at the bank, but you find 3 hours a week to contribute towards your community. That's all it is. So this is not something you get to the edge of a cliff and say, oh my God, now I've got to jump off this high cliff into uncharted waters. One small town, is it going to be safe? No.
Now, everybody has got 3 hours a week. Doesn't matter what job you do. And that's what this is about. So you don't have to give up your life, change anything. Just sign up as a member. And when One Small Town launches in your community, that's when you say, I'm here, I want to be part of this. I'll contribute my 3 hours a week. Because only when you contribute your 3 hours a week will you start getting the benefits. And it's really very simple. So there's no fear factor. Oh my God, am I going to survive? No, you carry on living your life like you do. And that's the other thing. So we're literally going into the waters from the shallow end into the deep end. You're slowly walking in, and you can stop when you want to, and you carry on until you're in the deep waters. When you know how to swim in the One Small Town pool, that's when you swim. And when you get to the point where we are distributing enough money to our people from our monthly distribution of profits of our businesses, and the profits that you're getting as part of the distribution to our members is almost close to what you're earning as a living, and you start thinking, oh wow, I'm getting as much money distributed through the One Small Town businesses as I'm getting from my pension or my, whatever, or money that I earn in my job. And you realize, oh my God, I don't need to work anymore. I can just contribute more time to One Small Town and maybe start another business as a One Small Town business. Then I'm going to get even more dividends every month. So, and that gives us to, we're creating a moneyless society. We're not creating a moneyless society. That was in the Ubuntu book, I was talking about a moneyless society. But that will happen automatically. In fact, let me explain to you how we're going to create a moneyless society. Now you've got to imagine, you've got to stretch your imagination a little bit, okay? Imagine we're 10 years down the road. We've got 200 businesses that are generating £200 million profit a year for us. And if you think that's not possible, believe me, it's very possible. In fact, if you're not doing that, then you're doing something wrong. Then you need to get other management in your One Small Town management team. So now we got 10,000 members, we generate £200 million profit a year, and we're distributing those profits to our members. How much money is that? That's like £20,000 a month or something stupid. Or I don't know, do the numbers, it's a lot of money. Or £2,000 a month. What will happen is that as the more money you receive from our dividends from our businesses, and the more benefits you get in food and other things that we do for ourselves, the more you realize that you're not spending any of the money. You might still have a job that's earning you pounds or euros, and you're putting that money in your bank. But because you don't have to spend that money, because everything you're doing, you're using your tokens to get all the things you need. So all the fiat currency going to your bank account is just sitting there, and you don't have to use it unless you go traveling or you go to Australia and you have to use your fiat currency money. You end up using just your tokens in your own community because everything starts to operate more and more. We're expanding on using our tokens. And one day you're going to sit back and go, wow, when last did I use my bank account? I can't remember when last I used my bank account. That, my friends, that is the moment that you'll have that same epiphany and a complete mind shift to realize that, oh my God, we don't need money. We need each other because money does nothing. People do everything. And if we do everything for ourselves, we realize that we don't need that money. And that's how money will work its way out of our system. We're not consciously going to work money out of our system. Oh, we got to get rid of money. No, we won't have to do any of that. It'll just slowly but surely fade away because we'll stop using it. That's the day that I'm looking forward to. When that penny drops for people, when everybody realizes that we don't need money because money does nothing. People do everything. You can put $1 billion in the middle of this room, if you can fit it in here. In $1,000 bills you can. But they don't print $1,000 bills anymore. I wonder why. So you can put $1 billion in the middle of this room, nothing's going to happen. It's going to sit here for as long as it sits here, until we decide to do something. We're going to need to use that money, but we have to make that decision to do something. So, I use this analogy all the time. When the pioneers or the fur trackers in South Africa were tracking across the mountains and the rivers, and you get to a river, and now suddenly you got to say, "Oh, there's a river. We need to build a bridge." First of all, they didn't call the bankers to say we need a loan to build a bridge. They didn't call the guys with certificates from university to say, well, I studied how to build a bridge. No, they got the guys that know how to build a bridge. And say, okay, well, let's build a bridge. So they built a bridge. Right? We solve problems as we go. And this is the other thing. So now that you've built the bridge across the river, now you can get across the river and you can go to the forest, get your wood, bring it across. You don't have to go 10 miles around that way to cross the river. At which point do we hand over our bridge to the government so they can charge us to use the bridge? At no point. There is no point at which we will do that unless we've lost our minds. And yet that's what we do today. We hand over everything to our authorities and our government, stuff that we've done. That's got to stop. And it's going to stop with one small town, because there we're going to be in control of our own environment on a small scale. So we are truly in control of our environment. And also there are ways in which we engage with the authorities, our local authorities, our councils, our municipalities, and so forth. I don't want to necessarily go through that right now, but there are legal ways, serving legal letters to notify the councils as to who we are, what our intentions are, what we plan to do, and then a month later we notify them we plan to do this. Can you give us your 2-year plan as to how to deal with the potholes? Can you give us a 2-year, and then a separate letter? Can you give us your response as to how is the council planning to deal with the fixing of the park, the game park for the children, whatever you call it, the fun fair park or whatever, right? You know that you're not going to get an answer from the council because they don't have a plan. Well, especially where I come from, there's no plans. They have no money and they have no plans. So we use the legal system to put them on notice, to tell them what we plan to do, so that they can't come back and say, well, you can't do that. So, well, we gave you notice, you didn't respond, and therefore we reserve the right to do these things. I'm just giving you a hint as to how we need to approach all these things. And we've had to think about all these things because we've been through it. And we've had councils and municipalities and mayors screw things up for us so badly that we now know how to handle it and what to do.
Michael, thank you, everybody. We'll try and have you back in a bit.
Thank you.